News just coming in. Varthur Lake in Bengaluru is frothing once again. The heavily polluted lake of Bengaluru is sweeping toxic foam which is spilling onto the streets. Heavy rains in the city have been adding to the problem of frothing. Deepak Bopana sent us this report from Varthur Lake in Bengaluru.
Well, as you can see, once again here, this froth that's spilling onto the streets, it's because of the wind early in the morning that the froth at this point blowing onto the buildings nearby, blowing onto the vehicles, making it absolutely hellish for the commuters here, and there's no way that the commuters can put up with it anymore, because it's been long due that the commuters somewhere got some sort of relief. But the measures that have been taken by the government agencies here, the problem continues to haunt the people here at Varthur and even at Bengalureans, especially due to the rain. The frothing has only increased, and also what we see here is chunks of froth landing on the face. Now, be it the BBMP, the BWSSB or the LDA or even the PDA, all of the authorities have been working together based on the NGD orders to control this menace. But even then, you can see the kind of problems that they face, and you can see even the traffic policemen here day in and day out have to go through these problems apart from the commuters nearby. And you can see how the wind here really pushes up the froth onto the face. While it looks beautiful when you look at it, this is absolutely toxic and it's a killer. And as we speak here, it becomes difficult to even talk around this place because of the froth. While it touches your skin, it's toxic, it begins to burn, and this is the problem residents around have to deal with nearby. You can see nearby homes as well. You can see due to the wind, even the apartments nearby, the froth reaching them. Everywhere you can see all around the circle near the Varthur Kodi, the froth is all around. There is even a shopping complex, theatres around here. But somewhere the problem persists. The government here doesn't seem to have answers, just temporary solutions, that too which are failing at this point in time. You can see while we have the mesh here that was built, that mesh has come crashing down due to the rains. Shows the poor quality of material that was used, the siphoning system as well that has failed at this point in time. We really have to wait and watch. Will the government somewhere think about better measures and not just temporary solutions to fix this problem? Is the big question.
As you could see on your screens, the froth that is coming in and spilling onto the roads from the Varthur Lake in Bengaluru, frothing once again. The heavily polluted lake in Bengaluru is sweeping toxic foam which is now spilling onto the streets. Now, due to heavy rains in the city, we have been adding to the problem of frothing. Let's listen into what residents have to say about this issue.
In the morning, there are at least hundreds of buses that pass through. Every morning, when the kids go through, they have to face this minac. In the evening they come, they're coughing and all. The asthma rate around the nearby has gone up so high, people are not really realizing, but we are up for something really terrible.
Sridhar Pabisetti joining us on the phone line. Sridhar, as we can clearly see on the screens, a lot of froth spilling onto the roads. There were many promises made by the government saying that we will take measures, we will bring this problem in control. But as we can clearly see, nothing of that sort has happened now.
Absolutely. I think the residents there are suffering for a very long time. And it's unfortunate that in spite of the heightened awareness over the last 1 year, we don't see any improvement on ground. And the villagers there, the residents there are continually suffering this. No amount of pleading with the government has resulted in action. The expert committee where Nama Bengaluru Foundation was also part of, we had given very tangible, clear, actionable items to the government, and unfortunately the government has not acted on them. This dilly-dallying, this reluctance to act on very tangible progress, very tangible items is what is worrying all of us, that this kind of public health crisis is perpetuating with no abatement at all. We should understand that the government of the day has a lot more instruments in its control to kind of bring down this kind of pollution. It should go on spearhead mode as far as regulating the pollutants that are coming into the lake. There is no lake in the city of Bengaluru which does not have construction and demolition debris, which does not have municipal solid waste being dumped into it, and worst of all, industrial pollutants and sewage coming into it. If the government doesn't regulate these four aspects, there is very little future for the lakes of our city and for our very own city.
Shridhar, as you clearly pointed out, there is no future for the lakes in the city of Bengaluru. Now, this, what we see on the screen, is a clear apathy by the Karnataka government. These visuals actually look very scary. They can cause major accidents on roads. This is a crisis situation, and the government is clearly ignoring it. What will actually wake up the government in Karnataka?
I really don't know what kind of a public health crisis will make the government wake up. If you look at it, earlier it was only Varthur and Bengalureans lakes which are frothing. Joining that esteemed list today is the Subramanyapura lake in the center of the city, and this is horrible. How come these lakes, which have kind of sustained life for Bengaluru over the last 500 years, are today turning so toxic and frothing? We should get back our act in order. The Karnataka State Pollution Control Board and the Karnataka Lake Conservation and Development Authority both have to pull up their socks and enforce punitive measures on all those who are degrading our lakes. We can't afford to create this crisis in different nook and corner of our city.
Shridhar, do you think it is high time now for the citizens to take the situation under their control? Because this has been going on for the past 1 year. Many promises have been made. There have been many politicians who have visited these lakes. As we can see, a mesh has been created, but that has done nothing to either stop the frothing or to stop the frothing from spilling onto the roads. What's the way forward for the citizens? Is it high time for the citizens to just take the situation in their control and stop depending on the government?
I think the citizens have to first enforce the government of the day to act. The more and more citizens coming out and protesting and demanding better from their government, the government will be forced to change their attitude that they have today. Last Saturday, noted Gandhian fighter Mr. Doreswamy visited 3 different lakes in the city of Bengaluru: the Horamavu Agara Lake, the Horamavu Jayanti Nagara Lake, and the Chelakare Lake. And there were so many residents who came forward and told the reality. And Doreswamy sir said, why aren't you doing enough about it? Why aren't you going and filing complaints? And thankfully, few residents came forward, and yesterday there was a police complaint that was filed for causing public nuisance by all these unknown elements. And that is a complaint that we all together, the various organizations who have come under United Bengaluru, will take forward. We will push the courts to act on these kind of issues. And I think that kind of concerted furor is happening across the city of the devastation of our lakes. And I think that is the only thing that will probably make this government act. The government has not acted on good advice. The government has not acted on pleadings. And I think only a citizen uprising is what will make this government listen.
Thank you, Shridhar, for joining us on the phone line. On your screens, Karnataka government's apathy on full display. Froth spilling onto the roads, a major cause for accidents, crisis situation, but the government ignoring this major issue.